This man has been serial thieving at the same convenience store for the better part of a year. Fills up his bags, and as he's about to walk out again, the clerks lock the doors. He's trapped.
Have you ever wondered what happens when a criminal gets caught in their own game? While it's not uncommon to see people take on unexpected roles, what's truly fascinating is when criminals end up being victims of their own traps. In this video, we will explore 20 incredible moments where criminals fell into their own nets, giving us a mix of surprise, humor, and of course, a dose of justice that's priceless. Get ready to see how what they planned as the perfect crime ends up being their biggest mistake. Number 20. Arrested while trying to free his friend. One day, Kevin, a 33-year-old man from Porter, Texas, would never forget, went down in history as one of the most absurd criminal attempts ever seen. Stu received an urgent call from a friend who had been arrested after a minor car accident. Decided to help. Stu thought the solution was simple: go to the police station, pay the bail, and get his friend out of jail. But what happened during his attempt to save the day was a lesson in what not to do when it comes to teamwork in crime. When handing over the money to the officer, he unknowingly also handed over a small bag of methamphetamines that had been in his pocket along with the bills. Trying to justify himself, Stu insisted the bag contained salt, but the officer, with his experience, already suspected what it was. The quick test confirmed the suspicion: methamphetamines. Incredibly, Stu was arrested for drug possession just as he thought he was doing a good deed. To make matters worse, the Splendora Police Department shared the hilarious story on their Facebook page, and within hours, the story went viral. This failed attempt to rescue a friend turned Kevin Stu into a local legend, not for his good intentions, but for the absurd way in which he was caught. Number 19. Thief caught in a teddy bear. In an episode that seemed straight out of a robbery comedy, an 18-year-old car thief, Joshua Dobson from Rochdale, Greater Manchester, thought he could escape from the police by hiding inside a giant teddy bear. The incident occurred on August 10, 2022, when Dobson was wanted for car theft and driving away without paying for fuel. The police had traced his location in Rochdale, but when they arrived at the suspected address, they didn't find Dobson. However, something strange caught the officers' attention. A giant teddy bear was moving slightly. Intrigued, they decided to investigate further, only to discover, upon opening the teddy bear, the young criminal inside, who probably thought his hiding spot would be harmless enough to fool the authorities. The moment was so surreal that Greater Manchester Police couldn't resist sharing the story on social media, joking that Dobson had been stuffed behind bars. While the scene was straight out of slapstick comedy, the consequences for Dobson were very real. He was arrested and charged with vehicle theft, driving without a license and evading payment. It was undoubtedly a case that proved that no matter how clever you think you are, sometimes justice is quicker than your most absurd plans. Number 18. Jake Ned and the police bicycle encounter. A story that could be taken straight from an action movie occurred in West London when Jake Ned, a 31-year-old thief, stole valuables from a Range Rover parked on a quiet street. But as often happens in these cases, his escape was not as clean as he expected. While trying to flee quickly on a Boris bike, a police officer soon caught up with him. In a maneuver that seemed straight out of an action script, the officer in a van made a sudden turn and opened the passenger side door, using the vehicle as a tool of justice. With the impact, Ned fell headfirst, skidding across the pavement and ending up on the ground. Within seconds, the officer arrested him. CCTV cameras captured the dramatic moment, turning the robbery into one of those unforgettable incidents. Moments later, witnesses alerted the police, and Ned was quickly arrested. The thief was sentenced to 28 weeks in prison, adding to the long list of criminals whose audacity was not enough to escape the consequences. Number 17. The Manhole Cover Thief. In a curious and somewhat comedic incident that took place in Medellin, Colombia, a thief attempted to steal a manhole cover but didn't anticipate that justice would catch up with him in such an unexpected way. It all started when, with incredible audacity, the thief tried to lift the heavy metal cover of a manhole. While struggling to control the object, a motorcyclist passed by and, noticing the scene, stopped to question him. However, this small setback proved too much for the thief, who, in his clumsiness, lost his balance and fell headfirst into the drain. Witnesses who quickly recorded the moment couldn't contain their laughter as they watched the thief, visibly embarrassed, try to climb out of the drain, slipping time and again. After several attempts, he finally managed to scramble back onto the street, although clearly bruised and limping. To his surprise, the manhole cover, which had been his target for theft, remained in place. In the end, the thief, with no serious injuries but his pride completely destroyed, quickly walked away, leaving behind both the loot and the chance to escape successfully. This peculiar incident went viral on the internet, becoming a source of amusement for thousands of people who couldn't believe what they had just witnessed. Number 16. Brazilian Pranksters. Teach a lesson to the bike thief. In Brazil, a group of pranksters known as the Primitives became the heroes of a story that was not only funny, but also a creative way to teach a lesson to bike thieves. Taking advantage of their fame for social experiments and public pranks, they decided to address the growing problem of bike theft in a unique way, with a comedic yet educational trap. The pranksters placed a seemingly unattended bicycle against a tree in a popular city park. They knew it was only a matter of time before some thief would decide to take the opportunity. As expected, an unsuspecting person approached, drawn to the bicycle, and couldn't resist the temptation to take it. Without thinking, they hopped on and began pedaling away, completely unaware of the ingenious plan unfolding. When the thief started to ride away, an almost invisible rope came into play. As they pedaled, the rope caused them to fall spectacularly, sending them flipping over the handlebars. The scene was completely captured by a hidden camera, recording the exact moment the thief hit the ground in a comedic way. Laughter erupted from the scene as the thief, confused and embarrassed, picked himself up. This experiment was not only a funny lesson for the thief, but also became a viral sensation, reaching thousands of people across Brazil and beyond. The pranksters showed in a harmless yet memorable way that stealing doesn't pay, and sometimes what seems like an easy theft can end in a literal fall. Number 15. The Getaway Car Abandons the Shoplifting Suspect. A robbery that could have been part of a movie script unfolded at Hibbett Sports on Troy Road, Edwardsville, Illinois. 3 women entered the store, and although at first it seemed like a normal visit, employees quickly suspected that one of them, a repeat shoplifter, was there to cause trouble. Acting quickly, the staff alerted the police, who were already patrolling the area. What happened next was so unexpected that it became a viral phenomenon on TikTok. As the women exited the store with stolen clothes, they tried to escape in their getaway car. However, a dramatic twist left one of them stranded, abandoned by her accomplices who sped off to flee. In the viral video, you can see the moment when the suspect, trapped and confused, tries to recover her belongings while a police car approaches dangerously. Eventually, the abandoned woman, realizing she couldn't escape, dropped the stolen items and was arrested after a brief foot chase. In addition to being arrested for theft, it was discovered that one of the women already had pending theft charges in Missouri, complicating her legal situation even further. What surprised the community the most was that the incident took place near a residential area where children were playing, making many feel relieved that there were no more serious consequences. The video quickly gained traction on social media, with many users commenting on the instant karma that affected the thieves. Number 14. The Tagged Killer. Khalil Wheeler Weaver, known as the Tagged Killer, became one of the darkest and most feared figures in recent criminal history. In just 3 months, this man, who appeared to lead an ordinary life as a security guard, went on a killing spree, hunting vulnerable women in his path. His first crime, the murder of Robin West, a young woman with mental health issues, was horrifying. Robin's body was found burned, but her identity remained a mystery for weeks. Then came the disappearance of Joanne Brown, a homeless woman whose life was also brutally taken by Wheeler Weaver. However, it was the case of Sarah Butler that marked the beginning of the end for the killer. Sarah, a brilliant student, met Wheeler Weaver through the social network Tagged. Unknowingly, she was on the radar of one of the most dangerous killers. Before disappearing, Sarah sent him a text message that somehow seemed to foreshadow what was about to happen. "You're not a serial killer, are you?" Soon after her disappearance, Tiffany Taylor, a pregnant woman who had escaped Wheeler Weaver's clutches, emerged as a key hope. Her testimony would be crucial in capturing the killer. In a twist of justice, Sarah Butler's family took charge of the investigation, creating a fake profile on Tagged to lure Wheeler Weaver into a trap. He was eventually arrested by undercover agents, and the evidence was clear. Internet searches, phone records, and other evidence linked him directly to the murders. During the trial, the victims' families had the opportunity to confront the man who had destroyed their lives. Despite his protests of innocence, Wheeler Weaver was sentenced to 160 years in prison for multiple murders and the desecration of human remains. His story serves as a reminder that no matter how hard one tries to hide the truth, it will always come to light. Number 13. Ex-Marine fights a man attempting to rob a convenience store. The bravery of James Kyler, a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, stood out when he thwarted an armed robbery attempt at a convenience store in Arizona. Kyler, who was about to leave the store, immediately noticed something was wrong when 3 armed individuals entered and began threatening the staff. Without thinking twice, Kyler used his training in the Marine Corps to act. In a lightning-fast move, he disarmed one of the robbers and knocked him to the ground with impressive skill, all while the other 2 fled. Kyler's response was so quick and decisive that the robbery was stopped in seconds. What was most surprising about the situation was that Kyler used a bag of drinks, 2 Gatorades, and an energy drink as his improvised weapon. With the bag, he struck the robber in the face, quickly neutralizing the threat. The store's security cameras captured Kyler's heroic moment, and the authorities were able to arrest the armed young man and bring him to justice. Thanks to his intervention, the robbery was foiled and the crime was prevented. This story demonstrates how military training can save lives and how an act of bravery can change the course of a crime. Number 12. Truck driver beats carjackers. In an unexpected twist worthy of an action movie, a carjacking attempt in Chile was thwarted thanks to the quick thinking and bravery of the victim. The confrontation, captured on video and quickly going viral, shows how a truck driver, seemingly defenseless against 2 armed carjackers, managed to use the strength of his vehicle to defeat the criminals. It all began on a viaduct, where the truck driver found himself blocked by a compact SUV that suddenly stopped in front of him. 2 men emerged from the vehicle with clear intentions of stealing the truck, but the driver didn't give up. Seeing that his life was in danger and that he had no escape, he came up with a bold plan and took advantage of the fact that he had a much larger and more robust vehicle. Without thinking twice, the driver accelerated and rammed the SUV, causing a brutal collision at the back of the carjacker's vehicle. Not only did he physically damage the SUV, but the truck continued to move forward, dragging the SUV to the nearest intersection and freeing itself from the obstacle. The driver's quick reaction led to the carjacker's capture and the recovery of a vehicle that, to everyone's surprise, had also been previously stolen. The SUV was severely damaged, but the most important thing was that the driver managed to avoid the theft And thanks to his bravery, the criminals were eventually apprehended, putting an end to a wave of crimes in the region. The story of the driver and his truck became an example of how determination and quick thinking can be more powerful than the violence of criminals. Number 11. Lucas Chowski, the uninvited guest. An unusual case of theft occurred in Nelson, Lancashire, when an elderly couple encountered a surprise they never could have imagined, not even in their worst nightmares. A stranger had invaded their home. Lucas Chowski, a 28-year-old Polish man, had lost his temporary housing due to language issues, and thinking the house was empty, decided to take it as his new refuge. While the elderly couple, Pat Dyson, 73, and Martin Holby, 78, were on vacation, Chowski broke into their house, not with bad intentions, but with an incredibly strange idea of what staying in someone else's home meant. He took a bubble bath, made a pasta and chicken dinner, stacked the plates neatly, and organized the mail that had arrived. The most surreal part of all was that, as if he were an accidental guest, he hung his socks and underwear to dry. To top it off, he laid down on the owner's bed as if the house were his own. When the couple returned and discovered that someone had been living in their home, Martin exclaimed in astonishment, "Someone has been sleeping in my bed and is still here." Although no theft occurred, Chowski was arrested, and although his act was more the result of a misunderstanding than a true criminal intent, he was sentenced to a fine and a 2-year conditional discharge. Despite the unusual circumstances, this theft left behind a somewhat absurd story of how a man took advantage of a house he thought was abandoned, without stealing anything but turning it into a temporary refuge. Number 10. The pizza delivery driver stops the fleeing suspect. In a quiet town in Pennsylvania, what started as an ordinary day for Tyler Morrell, a pizza delivery driver, turned into a heroic adventure that left everyone shocked. While Morrell was delivering his pizza order, he saw a stolen car speeding down the street. The car eventually crashed, and as expected, the suspects jumped out and began fleeing on foot. But what seemed like an ordinary workday became a mission for justice when Morrell, without hesitation, decided to act. Despite holding a hot pizza in his hands, he reacted quickly, extending his leg to trip one of the suspects, slowing their escape and allowing police officers chasing the suspects to catch up with them. Witnesses at the scene couldn't believe what they were seeing. A pizza delivery driver not only prevented the suspect from escaping, but also contributed to the capture of another accomplice. The most impressive part of the story is that, despite everything that was happening, the pizza remained intact and was delivered to its destination as if nothing had happened. Local police chief Michael Weiss publicly praised Morrell for his bravery, and the story quickly went viral. Thanks to his quick thinking and unexpected heroism, Morrell not only helped stop the criminals, but also earned the respect of everyone involved. His bravery and dedication not only saved the police time, but, in a way, also saved the pizza. Number 9. The double life gone wrong. In a twist as ridiculous as it is fascinating, a robbery in Albuquerque, New Mexico left everyone stunned, not for the audacity of the thief, but for the incredible clumsiness of his execution. Matthew Crowder, a man whose life seemed dominated by recklessness, walked into a consignment store and stole a necklace. But what he did next was even more surprising. He left his business card at the crime scene. Yes, his card. What could be more obvious to the police than a direct trail leading to the criminal? Interestingly, instead of trying to hide his identity, Crowder seemed to be inviting authorities to track him down. In fact, Officer Simon Drobick of the Albuquerque Police Department remarked incredulously, "We didn't need Columbo on this one because this guy left his name with his business card." To add an even more absurd twist, just hours after committing the robbery, Crowder posted a photo of the stolen necklace on Facebook. The consignment shop, run by Jasmine Billio, was left stunned. Crowder's story is a reminder that sometimes criminals can be their own worst enemies, and their own clumsiness ends up catching them. Number 8. Machete and sword duel between thieves and cashier. On a quiet night in Pittsburgh, a pair of thieves dressed in ninja attire and armed with machetes attempted to rob the Perry Market convenience store. Their plan was simple: break into the store, intimidate the cashier, and steal all the money. However, they didn't account for an unexpected hero who would change the course of events. The cashier, Duad Hai, who was behind the counter, quickly reacted upon seeing the machete in the hands of one of the robbers. Instead of surrendering, Hai, with bravery and agility, reached for a sword he had hidden behind the counter. He used the sword with skill, disarming the first thief by making the machete fall to the ground. The unexpected twist didn't end there. While one of the thieves tried to escape, a customer in the store took advantage of the chaos and launched an attack, managing to temporarily apprehend the second thief. Although the thieves eventually managed to flee, this failed robbery became a spectacle for the witnesses, who couldn't believe how an ordinary cashier and a customer had thwarted an armed robbery attempt. The thieves, whose identities were never revealed, escaped empty-handed, leaving behind stories of bravery and unexpected justice that had Pittsburgh residents talking about the event for a long time. Number 7. Doing Tesco again. In a surreal twist that seems straight out of a crime movie, 31-year-old Andrew Hennell became the center of attention for a robbery that was not only bold but also incredibly reckless. On February 13th, Hennell posted a chilling message on his Facebook account, announcing his intention to do Tesco at 7:25 p.m., which was a premonition of what would happen minutes later. In a terrifying twist of reality, exactly 15 minutes after his post, Hennell broke into the Tesco store in Kings Lynn, wielding a knife and demanding money from the staff. Despite his initial success, Hennell's escape wasn't as triumphant. The police, alerted by witnesses and following leads from the scene, located him in a nearby pub. There, they found 4,410 euros in stolen cash and the knife used to commit the crime. Upon his arrest, Hennell quickly admitted his guilt. In court, he expressed remorse for his actions, although the damage had already been done. Judge Anthony Bate sentenced Hennell to 4 years in prison, noting that he posed a significant risk to public safety. The most surprising aspect of this case was Hennell's open confession on Facebook. Not only did it surprise the community, but it also played a crucial role in his quick capture, showing that in the digital world, recklessness can have immediate consequences. Number 6. Bagman Badman. In a strange and somewhat comical twist, a thief who called himself Christopher Badman became the laughingstock in Port Call during the lively Elvis Festival. Badman, a 37-year-old man, decided to carry out a robbery with a not-so-subtle disguise, a simple bag over his head in an attempt to blend in. However, his plan of discretion fell apart the moment he did the unthinkable. He took the bag off to look directly at the security cameras. His face was fully exposed to the hotel cameras, making his mysterious robbery as easy to identify as a rookie's trick. The hotel, which was in the midst of celebrating the Elvis Festival, a popular event in the city, soon noticed Badman's strange behavior. A guest at the location discovered him wandering with the bag on his head, confused and unaware that his little trick had failed spectacularly. Authorities quickly arrived at the scene and arrested Badman, who pleaded guilty to the theft. His robbery attempt was as ridiculous as it was brief, and he was sentenced to 16 months in prison. Additionally, Badman was forced to pay a 900 euros fine in court costs and €1 for the second charge. His robbery attempt became an example of how even the silliest plans can fail, especially when you have no idea how to use a bag on your head. Number 5. The Gatorade Man. In a small convenience store, a mysterious character became known for his peculiar habit, the Gatorade Man. He wasn't your ordinary thief. His style of theft was so blatant that he became a recognizable figure among both employees and customers. Every week, the Gatorade Man would walk in without hesitation, fill his bag with various items: pastries, candy, sodas, Gatorade, and chips. He never bothered to cover his face or avoid security cameras. His confident attitude was almost mocking to the store, which had grown used to his presence. But as with every criminal who feels invincible, there came a day when his luck ran out. He was in the middle of his robbery of the week when the employees, fed up with his constant misdeeds, decided to lock the store doors, trapping him inside. In a moment of absolute panic, the Gatorade Man began returning the stolen items to their shelves, as if trying to erase all the evidence. However, he left a bottle of Gatorade in his bag as a sort of consolation. After several intense minutes of struggling and banging against the doors, he finally managed to escape, but with a lesson he would never forget. His time at the convenience store was over, and with it, the legend of the Gatorade Man. Number 4. Intruder stalked by a Dane. In Oklahoma City, a day that seemed like any other turned into a true feat of canine bravery. Tracy McCoy, who was home alone, had no idea that an intruder had slipped into her house with unfriendly intentions. Fortunately, her faithful dog Dubai, a Great Dane known for his friendly nature, was on the lookout. Dubai, far from alarming Tracy, used a clever tactic. Instead of acting as a direct guard dog, the Dane allowed the intruder to approach as if he were a friend, giving him a false sense of security. The security camera recorded the surreal scene. The intruder, seeing the large dog, thought it was a friendly companion and approached to pet it. However, what he didn't know was that behind this kindness was a fierce protector. As the intruder advanced further into the house, Tracy, realizing what was happening, began to shout, causing Dubai, who had until then been playing his role, to completely change his attitude. The dog suddenly transformed into an unstoppable guardian, barking and lunging at the intruder with incredible strength. Terrified, the man quickly fled the house, and thanks to Dubai's intervention, the authorities were able to arrest him shortly afterward. The thief was charged with first-degree burglary. Thanks to his loyalty and bravery, Dubai not only saved his owner, but also demonstrated that dogs are not just companions, but true heroes. Tracy never forgot the value of her four-legged protector, and Dubai's story became a lesson in unwavering courage and loyalty. Number 3. The thief caught by a glass window. In the world of robberies, it's common for criminals to have meticulously planned schemes, but this case is a testament to how lack of preparation can be more than obvious. In Washington, a 17-year-old young man, filled with confidence, decided he was going to steal some luxury handbags from a Louis Vuitton store. His mission was bold: enter, grab the loot, and escape without leaving a trace. However, his getaway ended in a completely unexpected way. As he ran to escape, the young thief, in his haste, crashed headfirst into a completely transparent glass window. The collision was so brutal that he was knocked unconscious instantly. Watching this scene, one can't help but wonder, didn't he realize the window was there? Sometimes, the most audacious criminals fall into the simplest traps. In this case, the lack of basic planning, like identifying a glass wall, was his downfall. Number 2. The clumsy thief gets stuck in the window. In one of the most comical robbery situations ever, a thief in Bangalore, India, found himself stuck in a window due to his own ineptitude. Suant B, the thief at the center of this story, attempted to break into a house, but his plan quickly unraveled when he discovered that the window was equipped with a security grill. Instead of escaping, he got stuck in the window ledge, leading to a hilarious scene that was caught on video. As Suant desperately clung to the window frame, a curious crowd began to gather on the street, enjoying the spectacle. The fire department had to intervene to rescue him, and the situation ended with a peculiar rescue operation in which the firefighters carefully lowered him down with a ladder. The most ironic part is that Suant wasn't even trying to rob anyone. He had gotten stuck after an altercation with his drunk friends. The incident became a viral sensation, but also served as a cautionary tale about the dangers of crime and lack of planning. Although the thief failed, his moment of fame was not for the right reason. Number 1. The automatic door prevents the shoplifter. On December 4th in Dewberry, UK, a mobile phone thief faced an unexpected twist when he attempted to steal a high-end phone from a smartphone store. The thief, seemingly confident that he could leave with his loot, didn't anticipate that the store owner, Afol Adam, had a trick up his sleeve. As the thief grabbed a mobile phone worth $1,600 and headed for the exit, hoping to escape undetected, he didn't know that Afol Adam had installed a locking mechanism on the store door. The device, which had cost only €250 in 2020, would turn out to be his salvation that day. With just a press of a remote button, Afol locked the glass door, trapping the thief inside the store. Confused and with no way out, the thief still tried to force his escape, but unable to get away, he had no choice but to return the stolen phone and abandon his escape attempt. The security device, which initially seemed like a simple precaution, turned out to be a smart investment that thwarted the robbery in real time. The scene was captured on security cameras, and the video quickly went viral on social media, causing both astonishment and hilarity. The thief, who not only got trapped but also had to return his stolen goods, became the laughingstock of the community. The story also inspired other store owners to consider upgrading their security systems, knowing that a small investment could save them from many problems. These stories remind us how unpredictable crime can be, and how sometimes a single moment of ingenuity or bravery can change everything. Whether it's a thief caught by his own clumsiness, a former Marine saving the day, or a man announcing his crime on Facebook, all of these situations show that justice often arrives in surprising ways. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more stories about crime and justice, don't hesitate to come back. See you next time.